Fortnite Chapter 6 Season 4, as of recording this, has been out for about a week now, and I feel like that's a substantial amount of time, enough time for me to finally give my early opinions on this season so far. I've been playing this season every single day for hours since it launched. I've made a video every single day, so I feel like I have a substantial enough opinion now, and I had actually previously recorded this video as like a live commentary style gameplay video, but that was a couple days ago, and with the recent changes and huge nerfs to so many different items, that recording quickly became outdated, so I'm essentially re-recording this now. Remember though, these opinions are subject to change as always. As you just saw with the new nerfs, my thoughts changed very quickly over the span of about 2 or 3 days. So keep that in mind. That long intro out of the way. I hope you go on to enjoy this video. Leave it a like, use code TYFRYZ in the Fortnite item shop. And let's get into my thoughts on Chapter 6 Season 4. And we are going to start with the good things, right? And there's actually a lot of good in this season. Firstly, the exotics. For me, these exotics are a huge step up as compared to the unstable exotics in Chapter 6 Season 3. These exotics being available at A tier, like, it makes you want to do whatever you possibly can during the game to upgrade yourself and have the opportunity to try and get these exotics, right? Because they are so strong. That, desperate want to get to A tier doesn't happen if the exotics are not good, and every single one is good. Some may argue a little bit too strong, but talk about that a little later in the video. But they're good, right? And I feel like the majority of exotics recently, besides the lawless exotics, have been pretty weak, and so I think brand new strong exotics are a great thing. They have unbelievable abilities, and I've been having so much fun with them this season, and they are a huge W for this season. Also, the OXR rank system as a whole is a plus, right? I said it back when the hero ranks were in Chapter 6 Season 3, right? Players need an incentive to do something during the game, right? They need a reason to go out there and defeat the bugs, or slay the queen, or go kill players, right? And that's exactly what this did. And they actually built upon the hero rank system a little bit more here with the OXR system, because you get the drop pods. So last season, right, you had to get a certain rank, and then you had to kind of go out there and like hunt for the specific chest for that rank. But for this season, it'll just drop right in front of you. And yeah, some people might not like it because they might think it's a giveaway as to, where they are, right? If you see one of these pods drop by, someone's right there. But again, it's just another incentive to level up. And once you get into those higher tiers, these drop pods give you unbelievable loot. And again, we'll talk about that later in this video. It's a little bit of a problem right now. But another incentive to go out there, kill players, and play actively instead of camping in a car and just driving around. Yeah, I will take that every day of the week. That is a great thing. Speaking of cars, we are basically in an anti-car season, right? And that is because of the Swarm Strike. Now, yes, the Swarm Strike to players is incredibly strong, right? No one's going to disagree with me there. I think a lot of people are going to say it's even overpowered, and they did just nerf it, but it was the damage radius by 15%. For me, that's not enough of a nerf, right? These things are nuking people through walls and stuff, so the damage to players, I feel like, could be tuned a little bit, but to cars, yeah, this is probably the best anti-car weapon we've ever seen, besides maybe the Anvil Launcher, and that is extremely necessary, right? It is extremely necessary because we saw all the complaints with cars in Chapter 6 Season 3, and players were just tired of everybody being in cars in Endgame. The Swarm Strike is an auto counter. It can literally one-shot certain cars if you hit every single rocket. It's really easy to do so because you can guide those rockets wherever you want. You've got the Bug Launcher as well, which does great damage to cars, right? For me, it feels like now you're no longer safe just driving around in a car, especially because so many people are taking the Swarm Strike. And for the most part, I think that's a good thing because I don't think anybody likes an endgame where there's 4 people left and all 4 are in cars just driving around. It's just not fun. Also, generally, I do like the theme this season, right? The bug invasion. I like Chapter 2 Season 7 invasion. I like the bug invasion theme. And I will say, the bugs don't feel that strong at all, right? I was incredibly nervous that they were going to be broken. They were going to do so much damage. They were going to be like the zombies back in Chapter 1. But that's not really the case. They're pesky, they're annoying, but really, they're not actually threats to you 99% of the time, let's be honest, right? Some of them hit for like 2 or 3 shield. And so, yes, they're annoying. I'm not going to deny that, right? They're pesky, but they are not going to be a threat to you, like I said, 99% of the time, unless you're literally at like 5 HP. And most of the time, that's not the case because there are tons of heals on this map. There is healing water all over the map. The amount of healing items this season, right? The Slurp Juice, the Legendary Slurp, Splashes, Minis, Big Pots, Fizz, Exotic Fizz. I mean, really, the list just keeps going. There are Slurp trucks around the map. I mean, there is no excuse for you to not be 100 all of the time. And I would say, for the most part, that is a good thing, right? I don't know about you guys. I would rather have more heals on the map than less heals on the map. So yeah, I'm going to put this in the good category. And my final thing I want to talk about that I think is good this season, although I'm kind of half and half on on this are the new locations, right? I don't necessarily like dropping at them, but I like the way they look. I like the loot that you get when you're there. And trust me, I love to go and third party there, but I don't necessarily like to drop there because as soon as you drop there, all the bugs spawn on you instantly. Everyone else is only dropping at these new locations, right? If you go to any of like the old locations that were on the Chapter 6 Season 3 map, it's basically a ghost town, right? I will say OXR HQ is a great drop spot. It's one of my favorite drops in a long time. And those OXR faction chests are absolutely loaded. If you know the spawn, right, they spawn 100% of the time. If you know where they spawn, you can get loaded in like 30 seconds at the OXR HQ. So like, I'm not the biggest fan of these locations. Like personally, I like Chapter 6 Season 3's Utopia City and Supernova Academy and Demon's Domain better, but I'm not complaining about them. I think they're completely serviceable. For me, that's where the good things come to an end, and now we've got to talk about the bad things, probably what you guys have been waiting for on this video. All right, we've got to address the elephant in the room. First up, obviously, it is going to be the Wrecker Revolver and the Medallions, right? This has been the talk of this season so far. I have never seen really so much complaining in my entire life about Medallions than these ones in this season. And yes, they did get nerfs, right? The double jump medallion, the jump was nerfed by 27%. The stamina energy cost to use was increased by 50%. And then the, slide medallion, the surge one, the movement boost when you slide was nerfed by 50%. And the movement, when you're sprinting was also nerfed by 8%. Here's what I will say. These nerfs are absolutely necessary. Before these nerfs, these two medallions were the two best we had ever seen. But still, I think they're very, very good. Almost too good still. Like, to me, when I play this season, I still feel like if I go up against somebody who has these medallions, I am instantly dead. I don't stand a chance, right? If I don't get these medallions like halfway through the game, I might as well quit because I'm just going to die to them anyways. And on the other hand, when you have these two medallions, you turn into an absolute super soldier. You are literally untouchable. I don't know what they need to do. I don't know if they need to nerf them more. And look, I will say, these nerfs are felt, right? They are not as good as they were, but they are still, I think, incredibly strong. And this whole discussion depends on what side of the medallion coin you sit on, no pun intended there, right? Some people believe that medallions should be very strong, should be very rewarding, and maybe overpowered because there's only one of them on the map. Whereas the other side of people say, you know what, they don't even take an inventory slot, right? Yeah, mythic weapons make somebody be talented with their weapon, but to give them something that doesn't even take up an inventory slot that buffs them this much, that's too strong, right? So I see both arguments here. For me, these two medallions have been a pain when they're not in my hands, and when they're in my hands, absolutely incredible. So take that what you will. I don't know what else I need to do with these medallions. The third one, the Carapace medallion, I mean, it's okay. And then the Wrecker Revolver. This weapon has single-handedly ruined SMGs this season. I have not touched an SMG because the Wrecker Revolver takes that inventory slot up, right? You could double pump them. That is not the case anymore, but you still can with certain shotguns. You can't hold two Wrecker Revolvers, but if you want to take a Wrecker and let's say a Sweeper and double pump between those, yeah, you absolutely can do those. And this thing got a handful of nerfs, but it is still way too strong. I don't think these nerfs are enough, personally. Decreasing the mid and long range damage by 4% isn't enough. The max range being reduced by 30 to 50% is good, but most people weren't really using this at max range anyways. Yeah, they were using it at long range, but nobody was really using it at like 100 meters. And then they only decreased the damage by 4, right? So in the legendary version, you're still hitting for 90 damage a shot. And don't even get me started on the exotic version. The exotic version is still way too strong. The Wrecker Revolver has taken over this season, and it's incredibly fun to use, but I still think they need to tune it more. Those are just my thoughts on the Wrecker. And yeah, the Wrecker and the two medallions have been the talk of this entire season. Players have not really necessarily been enjoying that combo, at least when you're on the other side of it, and it's really not fair when you're going up against it. At least they took out double pumping Wrecker Revolvers. I knew that was going to happen, right? I said within the first 2 days that they are going to remove the ability to double swap these revolvers because it's way too strong. So at least they did that. That is a good step in the right direction. Another problem I have with this season is that S+ is way too hard to obtain, like way too hard to obtain. I play a lot of solos and it feels like it is nearly impossible to get S+. I have had 16, 17, 18 kill games. I've taken out the queen and still not gotten S+ rank. Like, what else do I need to do? No one even gets the chance to use the exclusive weapons that you get when you get that rank, right? The enhanced assault rifle, I have not seen it in any of my games. The overclocked pulse rifle, never seen it so far. And the the Havoc Pump Shotgun, again, haven't seen it in my lobbies at all. I will say it's a little bit easier in duos, trios, and squads to get it, but still, I think it is way too hard to obtain. I understand it's supposed to be the most exclusive rank and only the top players are supposed to get it, but you've got to make it just a tad bit easier. I cannot be dropping almost 20 plus kill games and not getting this rank, and even if you do get it, most of the time you get it when there's 3-4 people left in the lobby. Yeah, cool, you get to use the Havoc Pump Shotgun on 3 bots, right? For me, this has been a problem this season. I've been trying to get gameplay for these weapons, and I cannot reach that rank no matter how many people I kill, how many things around the map I do, and that's just really frustrating. Another really big problem I have with this season is something I kind of touched on before. The Loophole feels kind of weak, right? Like, it feels very late game heavy. And what I mean by that is SMGs are weak, right? I don't know about you guys, but I don't think anybody's been using SMGs. I don't think I've ever killed somebody in Chapter 6, Season 4 that's been carrying an SMG. Pistols are weak. I understand that's to be expected, right? Half the shotguns are pretty mid. The Sweeper Shotgun and the Twin Fire are painfully mid. The DMR, I would argue, is pretty weak, and the AR meta is weird, right? I don't really find myself gravitating towards any of the options right now, besides maybe the hammer. And it feels like if you don't have one of the exotics, like the exotic AR or the exotic Wrecker Revolver or Double Trouble or certain mythics and medallions late game, it just feels like you kind of get slammed and you don't really stand a chance. As I always say, it is a good thing to reward players who are going to go out there and kill people and play aggressive over those who are just going to camp the whole game for 8 minutes and not move. But with that being said, if you don't get any of the, A caches for the exotics or any of the S caches with the mythics, and obviously none of the medallions, you are at a significant disadvantage. Like, I mean significant. And some people may argue that's how it should be, right? For me, that disparity in late game this season feels extremely wide. It may be a little bit too wide. And the final thing I want to touch on real quickly here is the shockwave issue. Now, they have nerfed the spawn rate of shockwaves by 33%. That is huge. It felt like every single time I would hit somebody for big damage, they would either have 16 rockets and a shockwave grenade launcher, and I wouldn't be able to catch them. They would get in a car and leave, or they would have like 12 shockwave grenades. So at least the shockwave issue has been fixed. It is annoying that basically everybody is carrying shockwave grenade launchers, but that's just an item that's going to be in the loophole the entire season. So I guess we just kind of got to deal with it. And yeah, the bugs were giving way too much loot before, so hopefully this nerf in the shockwave spawn rate will kind of fix that a little bit. Alright folks, those are my thoughts on Chapter 6 Season 4 so far. Remember, of course, these are obviously subject to change. They will change by the end of this season. Let me know your thoughts on this season down below. I feel like the community consensus overall is pretty good. Those medallions are the #1 thing I think has been sticking out like a sore thumb this season, and I'm glad they're starting to tune them a little bit. That all being said, I hope you guys went on to enjoy this video. If you did, please let me know what you thought about this video in the comment section down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. As always, peace.